Judge Deskins?
Here.
Master Anderson? Master Johnson will be here. Master Murphy? Master Robinson? Master Dodson?
Here.
Master Vernon?
Here.
Leo, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? All right.
Oh, no.
Public comment. John Thacker.
My name is John Thacker, and I live on the Hidden Valley subdivision down on the Hurricane. And won't take much time, Judge. I got a few questions to ask Mr. Hayes over there. I would thank you, Master, and thank you, Judge, for letting me speak. I got some questions for Mr. Hayes. I'm not here to jump on you, Mr. Hayes. Have you been down to the Hidden Valley subdivision?
I have, along with Judge Morris, Deputy Judge Morris. And I told you that. You're asking a question that I informed you about in a telephone conversation, 2 days ago?
Yersty.
So you know the answer to that question. Yes, I have been down there. I've driven by your house, around that curve where the posts are, back down the other street that you're still complaining about.
Well, it's a nice subdivision, isn't it?
I agree, John. It's a nice subdivision.
Nice people down there, too. Good neighbor.
Well, I don't know any of them but you, but you're a nice person, okay?
What I was asking, you know, I come here ain't been long ago, and this guy put them, supposed to have a 30-foot right-of-way down there. The county owns it. And we don't have about a 12, 10, 9 feet road some places. And people's got a road for their yard. Some's got fence in the road, and the bushes hanging over the road and you can't see. On the curve where I come in on Rose Street, you can't see around the curve. And I just had some close calls there having an accident. And then you go down Tracy Street, and every ditch on that back side is filled up. Run across, and, you know, Judge been down there, Assistant Judge Brian Morris been down there, Jackie Darrell's worked down there, Jeff been down there, his ex-foreman was down there. I guess and you've been down there, and I guess we just like 5 mayors to getting them come down and look at it. And we don't have no road down there. We don't have no room to pass on. Then on Clover Street, this guy took him about 30 minutes to put up 3 posts. That up against the blacktop. He put 12 minutes. I've been through this before, but I'll go back through it again. And you measure in the blacktop over to his house. It's about 7, 8 foot, belongs to the county. And I don't know, I was here, and Mr. Hayes, you said you would prepare a letter. And there are 20-some family lives down there. There are 21 houses, but one house ain't never been sold. But there are 20-some family. You said everybody would get a letter stating that they got anything on this 30-foot right-of-way, remove it. If it didn't, you take legal action. Well, you called my house, and I don't know, I was outside or somewhere there. You talked to my wife. You want a map I had of the subdivision. You wanted me to bring it up to the clerk. I think she was sitting over there, and make some copies. I brought it, made a special trip on Monday morning, brought it to her. And to this day, I talk to you. There ain't been no letter prepared. And Only help I got so far down there. Assistant Judge Brian Morris come down and helped me last fall, pull a ditch. Get the water out of my yard. Mr. Anderson over there, he's my manager. Now, I like him. But he won't help me none. I don't know. He got a special friend or something down there in the bottom. He don't want to do anything. You know, I'm not here to criticize nobody. And God knows in my heart, I don't have nothing against none of it. I felt in 1969, the Lord forgive me of my sin. And He changed me. I'm a different man than what I used to be. And I do try to be His minister. Now, I don't want to bring no harm to nobody. My neighbors, I don't want to bring no harm. Them people down there, a lot of them come down there and build a house. My wife, they come and use our bathroom. She would fix them something to eat now. I'm not a mean person, but that letter should have already been out. And Brian should help us a little bit.
John, let me interrupt you real quick. Now let me address just my concern. I don't have anything against you. And when this problem came up, we eventually, it did take me, I think, two or 3 weeks to track down the guy with Summit. And we had a plan. He came down and surveyed it, and that's before my foreman at the time got dismissed, but we came down and looked at it and had what I thought was a workable solution for everybody. I don't think the expense was going to be that much, and next thing I knew, we had some conflict. Conflict for lack of a better term, but we went down. I think the guy across Lonnie, maybe his neighbor, I think our road crew had went down and taken our equipment and dug up some. It's actually their property, but our right of way, I reckon is how you would say it. And we didn't use the plan that Summit had drawn up. But it wasn't any, I wasn't trying to show any favoritism or, trying to have any favorites in that situation. I thought what we had with Summit was probably the most efficient, cheapest route to go.
But, I don't see why it's the reason we can't have a 20-foot road. We got a 30-foot right of way. And our ditches on each side. You buy a piece of land, it's say 100 feet. You might put Murphy grow on it. He ain't going to grow nowhere. It's going to be 100 feet. And you build a house down there, it's bigger than what your lot is. You want more land, you can't take something you don't own.
Well, I think maybe, John, and I don't know, we can go back and look at it, and I'll be happy to meet with you anytime. But I think the idea that Summit came up with was, I think, basically used your house as a middle point, and they were going to put some the grading down, some catch basins, and get rid of the water. Because I know you had a problem, but I think that may have been
it's just like Judge Destin here. He come down and looked at it. Me and him have a few conversations in his office about it. He was talking about where I live at. The ditch should have been draining towards the other way, both points. But it don't drain that way. And, I got an 8-inch pipe in my, metal pipe in my drain when I moved there. And I got 2 foot belongs to the county. I don't want it. Don't have a bit of use for it. I got enough. Cut grass on it. I got 100 by 170. I don't need no more land. I got a little spot over in the heaven of Jonic, and that's all I need over there. Put me in a cemetery with my family over there. But I can't understand that why we can't get it fixed.
John, let me ask you a question. You came here initially complaining about your drainage, right?
I did, sir.
And that was addressed, I believe, by the road commissioner and road crew in District 1. Now, I know there were a lot of problems with neighbors and so forth.
You and ask you, mister.
He had a few
They
problems.
called the state police on him.
But your problem was fixed, is that right?
That's right.
All right, now, one of the things, you mentioned it today, you and I have talked about it, were 3 posts put in by one property owner, which I told you in our conversation 2 days ago, are clearly on our right-of-way. Didn't I tell you that? And I said, the family that put those posts there, I'm not going to name their names, but
I don't want you to.
has agreed to remove those posts. Now, I'm not going to send them a notice threatening to sue them for a problem they've agreed to do. They asked for 2 to 3 weeks. I understand the posts are in concrete, and so that problem will be resolved. Now, we've not had anybody come in except you and complain about the drainage on the other street, but I would just refer that to the road commissioner. Nobody is denying, John, and hasn't since the outset, that we have a 30-foot right-of-way, and we're entitled to protect the road down there. But that's not my job to go down there and fix drains and so forth. I'm the lawyer in this bunch, but matter of fact, I'd like to change jobs sometimes, but that's the reason the notice didn't go out to that one family. They've already agreed that, yes, we're on the right-of-way, yes, we will remove the 3 posts into that problem. Now, if there's drainage on another street where you don't live, I just refer that to the road commissioner. Jackie Darrell, you want to comment on that?
Well, we got a ditch on the first road that he lives on.
We don't
We
have
got
it
a
all.
ditch on the right side near his house. Then we got a ditch on the left side that will catch the other water coming down with any problem. And I went down there, most of the problems on his side of the street where it all would come down to him and gathered up. But the way we done those ditches through it solved most of the problem. And the driveways themselves, I see it a little different, Jeff, maybe, but the driveways that you cross our property on is the property owner's responsibility. And all of them's got drains in them, and it's their responsibility to fix the drains with the ditch that we maintain. We maintain a ditch and maintain the road, and we got about a 15-foot road through there. And the road's in pretty good condition, but on the back street, I don't know if it's really necessary to drag a ditch back there or not. I haven't had no complaints, because both those ditches is catching the water, appears to be.
I'm going to ask you, Mr. Hayes, this guy said in 3 weeks he's going to move him at the post office.
I don't believe it's been 3 weeks,
I know,
John.
you said 3 weeks.
He
Give
said,
it 3 weeks.
the message brought back to me was he'd have them moved in 2 to 3 weeks.
But it
And if he
doesn't-
doesn't, we'll go out there and move them ourselves and send him a bill for, the work we do.
How
They're
come
on our right of way.
Give him 30 minutes to put them in. It's going to take him 3 weeks to pull them out.
I'll take your
He's got a
word.
big flare bed there on the right of way. You and ask Jackie there. He got 12-inch cinder blocks. And I wouldn't doubt the building he got on the end of the Clover Street ain't on the county property. I'm not an engineer. I did work equipment on the railroad. I know a little bit about that. I know how the drains run. And Judge told me when he went down there, he said, you got up, it never was drained it right. I mean,
John, your limit was 10 minutes, and we've been in here about 15.
Okay, all right, I'll take
And-
my seat, Judge, and I'll be back next fiscal court meeting.
There is a flower base there in the corner where a drain was that this gentleman put on there, and he told me last year he would remove it this year, but he put it over top where a drain used to be there in the back street.
We'll go down there and remind him he needs to remove that from our right of way. That's easy enough.
Got you.
All
Okay.
right. Next, for approval, discussion, acknowledgement of receipt of the Pike County Extension Service 2016-2017 budget plan. Need a motion?
Motion.
And all right. Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson? Mr. Murphy? Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Barney?
I didn't have a copy of the thing.
I'm sorry. I
That's
thought
all
it was-
right. That's all right. I've got one now. Yes.
Judge Deskins.
Yes. All right. And I need a motion to acknowledge.
We got it.
Oh, okay, all right. First reading of the Pike County 2016 and 2017 budget. John Doug? And there'll be no vote at this time.
Judge, what this is a first reading of the Pike County 2016, 2017 budget. I'll do that in summary form. The budget is very lengthy, and we'd be here all night if I tried to read it all. But this is a summary analysis of appropriations of the Pike County Fiscal Court, fiscal year 2016, 2017. In the general fund, the total general fund is $15,880,910. That represents 43.33% of the budget. Road fund, total in the road fund, $6,518,756, which represents 17.79% of the budget. Jail fund, $4,420,498. That is 12.06% of the budget. Local Government Economic Assistance Fund, otherwise known as the LGEA Fund, total appropriations $2,303,591, 6.29% of the budget. Federal grants. Total of federal grants, $429,815, 1.17% of the budget. Forest Fire Protection Fund, $30,308, 0.08% of the budget. Solid Waste Fund, total of $5,556,768, 15.16%. Special Fund, LGEDF Recaptured Fund, total in that account $452,985, 1.24% of the budget. Special Fund, Maintenance Garage Fund, $1,058,252, 2.89% of the budget. That's the total of appropriations, and that adds up to $36,651,883, and of course, the revenues would be equal to that amount of money. That is the first reading of the ordinance, Judge. Requires no further action at this time. For the benefit of the court, this must now be submitted to DLG, the Department of Local Government in Frankfort, where they will approve the budget as to form. Once that is back, we can set this, we can advertise it, we can follow the Kentucky Revised Statute on advertisements. Then at a subsequent meeting, it'll receive a second reading for final passage. And that's the first reading, Judge.
Thank you, John. All right. Frankie, do you have any bids? All right. Manager's comment, Jeff?
Road work?
Huh?
Road work?
Oh, road work?
Yeah, I make a motion. We approve the road work.
We don't have any.
Don't have any road work? Okay. I'll withdraw my motion.
You got none?
I don't have any comments either, Judge. Yeah.
You were right, Judge, to go to comments.
Do you have any comments? Leo?
Yes. Jack and Earl, we had the foreman and Jeff from over at the garage went down to Frankfurt and looked at a couple pieces of equipment we're needing. You go ahead and explain what it is and what it'll save us and everything.
Yeah, I was going to comment on that to the court. I've been searching for Leo quite a while for a drain cleaner. It's a thing that ejects water out. It cleans small drains out. Hillman and District 6 has got one they share and purchased together. And finally, they got one in down there. It's $3,000 they want for it. And it would save us a lot of money in the long run to buy it. And I know money's tight, but they don't have those machines down there very often. I've been searching for it for a year and so. And for $3,000, they got one. And I'm mindful that we got budgetary problems, but sometimes, you know, you don't find a good deal like that every day. And then they got a trailer down there Leah was wanting. His trailer, when he load up on it, he says it bends. And they got a trailer that tilts for $3,500. That's looks like a good deal too, if we can possibly handle it. And then there's another bigger issue that we got. Well, we haul the equipment through the county from many areas at long distance. You know, from Papaw to Pikeville here, we got to haul equipment, excavator, even though it's on rubber tires, you can't trim them that far. You'd wear them out very fast. But our trailer had the bad day up at the county garage that we've been using, and the excavator came off it the other day, almost came off of it. The metal's deteriorated where salt's got on it for years, and the supports it goes across that gives it strength is deteriorated, coming loose in some sections. The metal, the big beams, it looks good, is eat away where there's hardly nothing there. And Jeff told me he wasn't going to put it back on the road no more. It's too dangerous. So we left it for a situation of we need a trailer terribly bad, and that's about $67,000. Maybe I can refer to Frankie on that. I'm close to the ballpark to get another one. I took another gentleman up there yesterday. It's supposed to give us another price, and I haven't heard back from him. But we added a crossroad. I mean, we need that done immediately, really, too. We got a great problem there. That trailer is just not safe to use on the highway for the person driving and the people that we meet on the roads. It's a hazard. Thank you. I don't know how old it is, really.
I'd say that trailer ain't about 10 years old, Ken, if it's that. It's one of them land dog.
It's got cracks through the metal there where it hooks up to the trailer. Jeff showed me it's got cracks down. Plus, you can take a hammer and hit it, and big sheets of metal will come off of it. I don't know if there's bad metal to start with or what, but it's really got a deteriorating factor to it. It makes it a real safety issue. But we got to have something to haul our equipment, or we just can't transport from one place to the next.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kenneth, you have any more? Leo? Kenneth? All right.
Judge, I got a few comments. We got last Friday, I think it was, we had a real bad flash flood up on the Bent Branch side of the county near Bear Fork and Open Fork. And I want to thank the employees and Jackie Darrell for getting that taken care of. They had to work late in the night, and they're still working on some more washouts. I don't know if any of the rest of them had any of them or not, but that is the reason that we've slowed down doing any other work out in the county as far as pothole patching and things like that. I know we're getting calls about the weeds are growing up, and we had to pull all our men off and go to these washouts and take care of them, but we are pretty much got it under control right now. And we had a tree that had fell up in Wynn's Branch, and I talked to Jackie there about it, and he's going to check it out. It fell across a person's fence and tore it out, but he's taking care of it. But we're doing the best we can do with the weather conditions we've been having, and we want the people to know and bear with us that hopefully we can get caught back up. Thank you.
Bob?
Yes, Judge. A few weeks ago, a real close and dear friend of mine was murdered on a cemetery while he was putting flowers on his wife's grave. Ben Hatfield, CEO for ICG East Kentucky, who I worked for him at that time, and even when Ben was in college, between his junior and senior year in college, he went to work for Marbone Development, and I was working there, and I took him underground down there for the first time as a college student. He came back after he graduated, came back as an engineer for Marbone, and then he moved up the ranks and was he was a senior vice president for Archco at one time. He was the CEO for ICG East Kentucky. But he was a real fine man, and my heart just goes out to his family, his kids and stuff, and the way that happened. And it goes to show you what turmoil that our country is in right now. Yeah, things like that happened away from here, but you know what? They're happening here at home now. They're happening right here at home. Where this happened with Mr. Hatfield was not about 150 feet from my father's grave at that cemetery. You know, and it was on a Sunday afternoon in the middle of the day. And it just blew my mind. But again, I do want to remember his family and how senseless that killing is, you know, how senseless any killing is, the way it goes. But Hillman mentioned something about the flood or the rough rain and stuff we had, and it hit on my side of the county too. And my road crew, I want to really thank them for the job that they done going out and unclogging some drains. And it could have been a lot worse than what it was, but there was some preparation made beforehand on that. I had a doctor's appointment yesterday and missed the SOARS meeting over here in Pikeville, and I missed the Pride meeting that they had yesterday too. But my hat goes off to them and the work that they're doing and stuff, and I just hope that they keep it up. Thank you, Judge.
All right. We need to go into executive session. Will you please read the KRS?
Yes, this time I'll make a motion that we do go into executive session in accordance with KRS 61.810, paragraph C, proposed or pending litigation, and paragraph F, Pacific personnel matters.
Need a
I
second.
need a motion.
You have a motion?
Need a second.
Second. I said.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson. Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson. Mr. Dodson.
Yes.
Mr. Burney.
Yes.
Judge Deskins.
Yes. We'll be in executive session for a few minutes. The court meeting will resume.
Judge,
Yes.
if I may, the treasurer has brought some updated figures as she's doing her last-minute calculations, and so the first reading of the budget ordinance needs to be redone, and I'd like to do that at this time,
All right.
with your permission. This is a summary analysis of appropriations, Pike County Fiscal Court, fiscal year 2016-2017. I'll read it in summary form. General fund, $16,036,573 total in that fund, 43.5% of the budget. Road fund is $6,518,756, 17.71% of the budget. Total jail, $4,420,498, 12.01% of the budget. Local Government Economic Assistance Fund, LGEA, $2,303,591, 6.26% of the budget. Federal grants, $429,815, 1.17% total budget. Forest Fire Protection Fund, $30,308, 0.08% of the total budget. Solid Waste Fund, $5,556,768, 15.10% of the total. Special fund, LGEDF, recaptured fund, $452,985, 1.23%. Special fund, maintenance garage fund, $1,058,252. That's 2.88% of the budget. The total budgeted appropriations are $36,807,546. That's 100%. Now, the treasurer's going to explain why that figure is what it is in just a few moments. But again, the estimated revenues are in the same amount as the total appropriations, and that constitutes a corrected first reading, Judge.
Thank you.
Judge, while I have the floor, each year we approve an annual standing order to pre-approve certain recurring expenses. Recurring expenses would be salaries, for example, utilities, telephone, insurance payments, and those sorts of things. And we need to pass this order here today so that the treasurer can dispose of her business in an expeditious manner. And so I'll just read this to you in summary form. It will require court approval when I'm finished. This is an annual standing order to pre-approve certain recurring expenses, Pike County Fiscal Court, fiscal year 2016-2017. Pursuant to KRS 68.275, parentheses 3, the fiscal court may adopt an order to pre-approve the payment of monthly payroll and utility expenses. No other expenses shall be pre-approved pursuant to this subsection without written consent of the state local finance officer. That's a direct quote from KRS 68.275, paren 3. The fiscal court, in accordance with state law, hereby orders the following recurring expenses for payroll and utilities be paid when due. The fiscal court further orders, upon the written consent of the state local finance officer, the following expenses be paid when due. And there's a list of 8 pages, but that is the order we need, and we need a motion, a second, a majority vote to adopt that order.
Motion.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Barney?
Yes.
Judge Jessica?
Yes. Next on the treasurer's business.
As John Doug was mentioning, this year's budget is $17,000 almost more than last year's budget. But that $17,000, because it was this year's is $36,807,000. Last year's is $36,790,000. But just as I was explaining to some of the citizens here, the fiscal court has to be a pass-through agent for hazard mitigation programs, the severe repetitive loss. We have grant money for law enforcement to get guns. We have a crumb rubber for landscaping grant coming through. And just in those 5 or 6 things, that is $6.489 million worth of pass-through monies that the county cannot use to do anything else with except for what the grant was written for. So really, the general fund is not truly a $16 million budget. It's really $9,546,000 if you take out pass-through monies. Same as in the road department. It has FEMA money and NRCS money in there. The jail is all for jail. There's one pass-through. Whatever money comes in goes out to West Care. And as you can see, the Local Government Economic Assistance Fund only is $2,303,000, and last year the LGA fund was $4,808,000, so there in itself is $2.5 million, which is where any line items for coal severance projects are listed, and the coal and mineral severance that comes back to the county that we can use for operating cost. And of the $1.9 million I have budgeted for the LGEA coal producing money, 30% of that has to be going into our road department in order to maintain our roads. The solid waste is down. We have money this year that we hadn't had in a while under the federal grant, $429,815. That is CDBG money for Community Development Block Grant that is specified for the West Care renovations of the women's facility at Sycamore. That cannot be used for anything else but for what that is designated. Forest fire protection, we can't do nothing with that. We get a bill from the state that we have to pay for every acreage of fire protection in our county. The recaptured fund, by the end of next year, I'm anticipating it to have $452,985. That is the money we're receiving from Coca-Cola for the rent of the next 10 years on that property down there at Mossy Bottom. That cannot be spent for anything except for what is approved if we send a letter to the Department for Local Government, to Commissioner Donahue. That is all that can be used for. It cannot be used to operate county government. And then the maintenance garage is the fund where the road and the solid waste puts money together in order to maintain our equipment. Last year it had $1,433,000. This year it's got $1,058,000. So everybody in all these funds, if you go and knowing how I know to look at it, if anybody wants to come and have me to go over it with them, I don't care a bit, and I'm sure Frankie wouldn't care to help too, to educate citizens of what is actually here in the budget and how the money is received. All these numbers just look like numbers to you all, but anything with a 4504 that is designated from Department of Local Government as a federal/state grant. Anything 4510 is a state grant. 01 means the general fund, 02 means your road fund, 03 means your jail fund, 04 means your LGA fund, 07 is the federal grant fund, 12 is 12 is the forestry, 13 is your solid waste fund, 75 is your LGEDF fund, 77 is your maintenance garage fund. The next four set are called major codes to any fund. And as you can see under the summary analysis page of the first of the budget, it tells you that 5,000 is general government, 5,100's protections to person and property, and so forth. Your 9,400s is anything to do with fringe benefits. The employer's share of the FICA and retirement, life insurance, health insurance, workers' comp, unemployment. Go to the road fund, their 6,100s are your roads. Go to the jail's numbers are all 5,100 for protection to persons and property. The LGA fund, same thing. It has a bunch of different funds, and there's more restrictions to the LGA fund that you can use their monies for than any other fund because it is coal severance funds. They only allow certain, where the money had dropped so much in the local government economic assistance fund, I had to move the animal shelter back over to the general fund where we used to have it years ago because I was running out of money and I had to show the money back to the road department at the 30%. So things have to get situated around, and when it goes to Frankfurt, they approve it as to form and classification that these numbers, how they're allocated and how they're named, and what we sent them from last year is pretty much within reason. Just then the detailed numbers, when you get into the expense side, the 100s, if you look at the budget appropriation, is all your salaries. There'll be 200s are your fringe benefits at the back. 300s are for certain expenses. 400s or other expenses, but every one of these numbers means something to all of us that has worked here for years. We can pretty much rattle off any of these numbers anytime or get you pretty close to it to know where to look at something or what's going on. I see Joe sitting back there, and I'd say Joe can remember some of the numbers even though it's been a while since he's worked here, because these are things that you deal with on a daily basis of knowing where these numbers are.
John, the longer short of it, if you take all the pass-through money out,
Well, just on that fund alone, I didn't add in the 429,000 in the LGA. You're down to a $29 or $28 million budget is all this budget would be.
what was it last year, 36?
Yes.
With some pass-through in it?
Yes.
So we're
We're
legit.
down to about 4 million, 5 million from what we were last
Yeah,
year.
about 4.6 million, somewhere in that neighborhood?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, now on to my further business. Authorize necessary transfers and interfund transfers to pay the usual for the meeting.
Motion.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Barney?
Yes.
Judge Deskins?
Yes.
Authorization for anyone who wishes to attend the KCJEA KMCA conference at the end of the year. In having dealt with all this, I've not got your rooms yet, but I'll go and try and get the forms in to get the reservations available for the conference.
You need a motion?
Yes,
Need a motion?
it's into this month.
Roll call, please.
Yeah, I need a motion, Judge. Motion.
Got a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Barney?
Yes.
Judge Deskins?
Yes.
We've received our application for the membership with the CACO Association of Counties Workers' Comp Fund. Just authorize the judge to sign and fax back into the fund that we're participating with CACO's Workers' Comp this year, starting July 1 of 2016.
Need a motion?
Motion.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Barney?
Yes.
Judge Deskins?
Yes.
I have no further business, Judge.
John?
Yes.
Would it be appropriate to talk about our insurance? You had a call.
Kelly sent me an email this morning. He had thought, I wasn't in here when he spoke at the last meeting, but he had thought in reading his email on his phone that United Healthcare came down 10% below what the lowest was of Anthem, when in essence what it was is United Healthcare came in 10% below the highest amount of what Anthem was, which brought it within 2 percentage points of Anthem. So there really was not big enough difference, and he has negotiated Anthem down. And United Healthcare, the only thing they would allow us to convert would be our deductibles. They would not allow any out-of-pocket expenses to be accrued into their insurance if we switch July 1. So his recommendation is we stay with Anthem. But unfortunately, with this budget, we're only affording a single plan, which is $611 and some odd cents per employee for a single plan of the base.
Thank you.
All right. You finished, honey?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Next on the list is, go. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I assure you that no one on this court wants to take this action, but it's necessary to comply with Kentucky law requiring the county to have a balanced budget. Like most government entities, the county has experienced a shortfall in increased expenses over the past several years, which makes it all but impossible to balance the budget without some employees' layoffs. That being said, this is the judge's recommendations. Administrative employees. Approval to lay off James Riley, Executive Assistant in Judge's Office, effective June 9th, 2016. Approval to lay off Sharon K. Charles, Administrative Assistant in Judge Deskin's office, effective June 9th, 16. Approval to lay off Lana Roberts, Office Manager for Public Works, effective end of the business day on June 9th. Approval to lay off Bradley Williamson, Secretary for the Coroner's Office, effective end of business day, June 9th. Approval to lay off Kimberly Varney, Data Manager, Finance Office, effective end of the business day, June 9th, 2016. Approval to lay off Lisa Atkins, Magistrate Assistant in District 1, effective end of the business day, June 17th, 2016. Approval to lay off Sheila Gunter, Magistrate Assistant, District 2, effective end of the business day on June 17th, 2016. Approval to lay off Stephanie Justice, Magistrate's Assistant, District 3, effective end of the business day, June 17th, 2016. Approval to lay off Terry Conley, Magistrate's Assistant, District 4, effective end of the business day, June 17th, 2016. Approval to lay off Donita Rutherford, Magistrate's Assistant, District 6, effective end of the business day, June 17th, 2016. Need to acknowledge the resignation of Brandy Woodford, Magistrate's Assistant, District 5, effective June 6, 2016. Hourly employees. Approval to lay off Mary Lyons. She's a part-time cook at the Phelps Intergenerational Center, effective the end of the business day on June 24th. Approval to lay off James Thompson, temporary mechanic at the maintenance garage, effective end of business day on June 24th. Approval to lay off Stephen Blackburn, mechanic at the maintenance garage, effective the end of business day on June 24th, 2016. Approval to lay off Paul Pugh, carpenter for Public Works, effective end of business day on June 24th, 2016. Approval to lay off Tony Dotson, mower driver for road lot number 5, effective end of business day, June 24th. That being said, with the hourly employees, I'd like to add, the last court meeting, there was an employee that was terminated that checked out the inmates that went and picked up and foresaw the waste. This court's going to get together and we're going to put back one of the people that's been laid off on the hourlies into that position. So one of them people will be able to come back. The seasonal employees need approval to lay off Charles Davis, seasonal mower for Public Works, effective end of business day, June 24th. Approval to lay off Jonathan Howe, seasonal mower for Public Works, effective end of the business day, June 24th. Approval to lay off Kenneth Price, seasonal mower for Public Works, effective end of the business day, June 24th. Approval to lay off Ronald Rayburn, seasonal mower for Public Works, effective end of the business day, June 24th. That's the judge's recommendations.
Judge, if I may, I want to make one correction just for the record. Pursuant to the Pike County Administrative Code, this court is not required to approve layoffs of your executive assistants. As a matter of fact, I think the code provides that you're entitled to 6 of those. I think you'll be down to 3, I guess, 3 or 4. But anyway, all we need to do is let the record show that you acknowledge the layoff of James Riley and Sharon K. Charles as your executive and administrative assistants in your office, and that would be consistent with the code. You have the right under the code, they're employees at your will, actually, and you have the right to hire and to fire or lay off. This court's sole role in that is to set the salaries for them. So I just want the record to show that we're acknowledging their layoff, that you're taking that action on your own. Is that all right, Brian?
Yes, sir. That's the judge's recommendation. That's your motion.
Thank you, Brian.
Need a motion and a second, Judge.
I need a motion and a second.
It's your motion, you second.
Judge, your recommendation.
Yes. I make the motion.
Need a second.
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson?
No.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes, and I want to go ahead and say this is one of the hardest decisions that have been made here. It's terrible. I don't like no part of it, but what has to be, has to be. And the other time was, Judge remembers the first meeting we had. It was over $1 million we had to come up with and laid off, I don't know where it's 47 or 37, but we worked through it, balanced the budget, called everybody back to work, and I'm just hoping and praying that we can do the same thing with this. Yes.
Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Varney?
Yes.
Judge Deskins?
Yes.
Judge, I'd like to add just one thing. In these cuts, we've also, several meetings ago, we bidded a couple of jobs in the solid waste department. If you remember, we stopped the awarding of them bids that night due to budgetary reasons. Them two positions will also be eliminated from the budget.
All right, next is the commissioners' and directors' comments. Jackie?
You may have spoken, I may have missed it, but each road lot's gone down from 7 men counting the boss to 6.
Each road lot, after these cuts, will be down to 5 working men and 1 road foreman. Each road lot will have the equal amount of number of employees.
Okay. All right, county attorney's report.
I have nothing, Judge.
I have a whole lot to say. I always thought I was a pretty strong man, but when you go to lay off employees with the situation, the way the county's in, I'm just unhappy as I can be to have to do that, because back a long time ago, I was laid off a time or two, and I know how it feels when you had a family to raise and expenses. But I'm just extremely unhappy to have to do this. So we had to do what we had to do. And as Granny used to say, it is what it is. And I just hate to do this, but I have to. Thank you all.
Judge, I'd also like to add before we break that the employees that's been laid off there will be a list generated here at the county, and it's in the code that with 1 year we have to keep this list, and any callbacks, we have to go off the list. Is that correct, John Doug? Correct. I wanted that to get out to the people that's losing their jobs. So.
I got one more thing I'm gonna say. I've been on this court now. One of the saddest days that I had here. It really bothers me, and I hope things are get turned around, straightened out, so. I don't know, it's just a sad day for Pike County, a sad day for me. Families and everything, because I don't want to see anybody get laid off. It's just tough. So I don't know. Things down everywhere, it's not just only here in Pike County, it's all the other counties. And it's just bad times right now. And so it don't look good for Pike County. It's a sad situation.
Any other comment? I need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Master Anderson, Master Johnson. Master Johnson. To adjourn. Master Murphy. Master Robinson. Master Dodson.
Yes.
Master Barney.
Yes.
Judge Deskins.
Yes.